Hey, what's up, Coin Fam? In today's video, we're going to talk about bicentennial quarters. We'll go over what they're worth and what makes each of these 1976 coins worth more than 25 cents. This is a 1976 Denver minted bicentennial quarter. Normally, this quarter would only be worth 25 cents, but there's a small mint error that gives this coin a little more value. It may not look like much, but at the bottom of the quarter, you can see where the 1976 date is missing. It looks like it's covered up with metal. The truth is that the 1976 was never struck into the Planchet because the die that struck this coin was broken. Dies break for multiple reasons. If a die wasn't heated and cooled properly, it can be brittle. Or when a die reaches the end of its lifetime after striking tens of thousands of coins, it can chip and eventually cause a break. The break in this die affects the edge of the coin, which makes it a cud. You can see where the strike on the opposite side is very weak because there wasn't enough resistance due to the break to properly strike the reverse. Die chips are relatively common on some Philadelphia minted coins from 1999 to 2021. When a chip becomes a break, they're worth a lot more money. This error quarter was graded mint state 64 on a scale from 1 to 70, and it sold at auction for $161. This is a double die 1976 Denver minted bicentennial quarter. The doubling is on the front of the quarter, so this is called a DDO for double die obverse. You can see the doubling on this coin most prominently as a split serif on the E in Liberty. A lot of people think a double die is the result of a coin rotating between strikes, but that's called a double strike. A double die happens during the creation of the die. If the die rotates slightly in between pressings with the master hub, parts of the design may be doubled. If this goes unnoticed, the double die will be used to press tens of thousands of these doubled designs on every single coin it strikes. Double dies are frequently called errors, but because the doubling is on the die and affects every coin struck, it's technically considered a variety. But don't get fooled by machine doubling. Machine doubling is a topic for another day. If you don't want to miss that video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. This quarter was sent to PCGS for grading, and it came back about uncirculated 50 with the FS101 DDO designation. This quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for $211. Here's a 1976 Philadelphia minted bicentennial quarter error that might slip by you. The head side or obverse of the coin looks like any other 1976 quarter, but when you flip it over, you see an obvious discoloration. You're not seeing a dirty coin or a painted quarter. This is the inner layer of copper from a clad coin. In 1965, the U.S. Mint began replacing many of the precious metal coinage with a copper layer sandwiched between two outer layers of nickel. When one of the layers of clad are missing, you have a missing clad layer. This can result in a weight reduction of the coin up to about 15%. You can have a full, partial, or a dual missing clad layer. It's important to know that a missing clad layer does not always result in a lighter coin. It depends on how the missing clad layer occurred. For example, you can have a missing clad layer due to a rolling error, where the missing metal is replaced with another metal, making up the weight of the missing metal. If you want to learn more about missing clad layers, hit that subscribe button. I have a detailed video explaining this scheduled for the near future. This 1976 bicentennial quarter was graded mint state 61. It weighed in at 4.8 grams versus the 5.67 grams it should weigh. This error coin brought in $228 when it was sold by Heritage Auctions. You don't have to be a brain scientist or a rocket surgeon to know that something ain't right with this quarter. This 1976 Philadelphia minted bicentennial quarter was the victim of an off-center strike. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet isn't aligned properly in between the two dies. Generally speaking, the more off-center, the more it's worth. It's always good to have the date struck into the coin. This quarter was minted 30% off-center. This quarter coin was submitted to PCGS for grading, and it came back mint state 64 on a scale from 1 to 70. This off-center struck quarter sold at auction for $264. We've seen some error quarters and talked about how errors happen and how much they're worth. But most coin collectors aren't out there to collect error coins. Error coin collecting is more of a specialty for coin collectors. There's no error on this very rare and valuable 1976 Denver minted bicentennial quarter. This is a collector's dream, and it's worth more than a lot of error coins in existence. Coin values are usually determined by their appearance and their existing population. Both of these affect the rarity of the coin. I wish the picture was more clear, but you can still tell that there isn't much wrong with this coin. It has a really nice strike, no obvious signs of being in circulation, and few marks from being pelted by other coins. Someone recognized the quality of this quarter and submitted it to NGC. It came back a mint state 68, only 2 points away from a perfect 70. This grade for this year and mint mark is so high. Out of over 860 million of these minted, this quarter was one of 6 graded mint state 68 by NGC and only 10 others that graded mint state 68 by PCGS, with none finer at either service at the time of the sale. This near-perfect bicentennial quarter sold at auction for over $1,700. No coins are more beautiful to coin collectors than a coin designed and produced exclusively for coin collectors. We're talking about proof coins. This is a 1976 San Francisco minted silver bicentennial proof quarter. This quarter was submitted to PCGS and it came back graded proof 70 on a scale from 1 to 70. It also has a DCAM designation. DCAM stands for Deep Cameo. In order for a coin to qualify for a Deep Cameo designation, it needs to have moderate to heavy contrast between the field and devices of the coin on both the obverse and reverse of the coin. The contrast between the frosted details and the mirror-like field of this quarter was achieved by specialized polishing and laser cuts into the proof dies. At the time of the sale, PCGS had only graded 42 coins at this grade. This perfect specimen sold at auction for almost $1,900. What do you think happened to this 1976 Denver minted bicentennial quarter? Let's break it down. It's not the right color, it's not the right size, and it's not the right shape. That just leaves one option. It's obviously a double die capped, off-center, double-struck, reverse brockage clash die. Nah, I'm just kidding. This quarter was struck on a copper 1-cent planchet, also known as a penny planchet, by my good friend who has an unusual reverence for pies. Whether intentional or unintentional, a penny planchet found its way into the hopper and in between 2 quarter dies. That's when this hybrid penny quarter was born. It was discovered and submitted to PCGS for grading and came back a mint state 63. This 1976 copper bicentennial quarter sold at auction for over $1,900. Take a look at this beauty. This is a silver 1976 bicentennial quarter minted in San Francisco. This coin looks so good, it was submitted to PCGS for grading. There's nothing wrong with it, no errors, no variety, just a good-looking quarter. In fact, this coin came back a mint state 69. It doesn't get much better than that. At the time of the sale, there were no 1976 silver quarters with a strike and mint mark in a better grade than this one right here. This highly graded near-perfect quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for $6,600. Earlier in this video, we talked about a 1976 Denver minted bicentennial DDO. Here's another one, but this one is a little different. I'll explain why shortly. This picture is a little blurry, but it looks like this might be a blurred split serif here on the L in Liberty. You can see doubling on the I, B, as well as the E, R, and T. Both coins were graded by PCGS. This one came back about uncirculated 50 and sold at auction for $211. This one graded mint state 66, a much higher grade, and it brought in a lot more money too. The mint state 66 bicentennial quarter sold at auction for $8,400. We've looked at a bunch of bicentennial quarters. We've seen quarter errors and varieties. We've seen the best 1976 quarters had to offer, and now it's time to see the worst. This is one jacked up bicentennial quarter. For an error coin collector, it's a work of art. The coin is split in two locations. The design is fractured and incomplete, and when you turn it over, there's even more chaos. There's a dismembered hand holding a drumstick, a few extra stars, and a mangled design. It looks like this coin went through the Revolutionary War, but this quarter was simply the victim of a double strike on a 10-cent Planchet. It's unusual that this quarter was ever made in the first place, and then somehow it made it out of the mint. I wonder how this happened. This double-struck quarter, struck on a dime Planchet, is also a proof coin. It was sent to PCGS and received a grade of Proof 67 Cameo. It sold at auction for $9,000. If you want to learn more about the history of bicentennial quarters and see more rare and valuable bicentennial quarters, click that video to your left. Thanks for watching.